mechanics of the buy stop, sell stop, straddle trade, which we'll be doing. And then then we'll place it just before 3:30 for the data release. Okay, I've got it back again. Share the screen. Hope we get it right this time. Where are we here? Okay, hope you can see that. Can you see the screen all right? What have I done here? So much clutter on the other side. I can't see the wood for the trees. There we are. Okay, don't forget that. 3 till 4 tomorrow. That's better. Rush things, just press the wrong button. I was just getting out of the way here. Get this back in order there. Right, okay. Um, Zephin. Okay, so yeah, I hope that will hold and come off. We shall see. It might pop up there, but I think the settle will come in again. We shall see. Anyway, right. I'm not saying a trade idea, but there might be a bit of a bounce on gold. Hasn't really been happening so far, but that will be affected by CPI as well. Came right down to quite a bit of support down this level here, as you can see. But I don't know the extent of it, so I'm just pointing that out. Not so a trade idea, just making you aware. And the NAS might have a bit of a pullback. It's had a decent run up. It's got a bit of resistance. You might get a pullback. Again, I wouldn't be touching it now unless you want to take a massive risk, simply because I'm worried about tomorrow's stuff coming out. Just bear that in mind. Okay, so we might have a difficulty finding a trade today because I'm very nervous to touch any dollar, the NAS, gold, or the Dow because of it. And even the others have been affected by it. You could get lucky, you might not. It's a bit of a flick of the coin. Oh, yes, that's right. The other thing I wanted to check was the expected figures tomorrow. 0.3 over the month and 4.1 over the year. So we'll see any improvement on that. We'll see how it goes. I'm just going to copy and paste that for you guys. Again, I've got so much clutter. Maybe get a third screen, eh? Ah, damn. That's better. Copy. Okay, that's the economic calendar. Just let these guys in. Just keep it saved if you haven't got it. Obviously, I think most have, but just in case. And the dollar index. Copy for you. And I'll put in the 10-year note. Well, yields on the 10-year note to be more precise. I think you've all got my number. I have a VIP group. I think you're aware of it. If you've got 2.5 grand or more, just let me know and I'll upgrade you to it. And then you'll get areas of interest posted, like CPI was posted this morning, the Times, daily morning economic updates, and any trade ideas come first to there. So just let me know if you haven't got my number and you got the 2.5 grand. Just let me know, and I'll post my number for you on the live chat there. If you don't ask the number, I assume everyone's got it. Okay. Right. So I think it could be a chance some downside here as well, but we shall see. Okay. Same applies to shares, indices. That will be affected big time. And often the other currencies are affected as well. How it will be, we don't know. That's why we'll be doing a straddle trade to see what happens. Remember, if it comes out exactly as expected, it'll be a pretty disappointing trading room on the 3 o'clock session tomorrow. But if it's a big difference, we should get a big decent reaction on the dollar, and hopefully it'll suck one of the buy or the sell in, and we make a nice profit like we did the non-farms. Everyone who did the non-farms, I think, did pretty well on it last time. That was whenever it was, the first week of November, and then we'll do this coming up tomorrow. Okay, not much more to add to that. It's a bit quiet. The price action's dead's a doornail, as Chris would say, slumber fest. And I'm expecting that to go until tomorrow's session as well. So Don't expect many fireworks in any open trades. Be careful in the new you enter into. And if you do, and you're in a profit by the time the release comes tomorrow, make sure you've modified your stop loss to protect you, just in case it goes wrong. But you don't want to take it just in case you get a bumper jump in your particular trade. Okay. So there we are. Are we good? Any questions? Anything you'd like to discuss on the trading scene? I'm sure there's new guys out there, got a pen and paper there, got a few questions they'd like to ask. This is the time to do it when it's very quiet. Remember, if you don't engage, I can't help you. It's no good going on the live chat after the question, which could be handled in the trading room when you're on the Zoom and everything's there.
Good morning, Mr. Roach.
Good morning, sir. How can I help you?
I'm very well. My concern is with the brand. Can I take it again? Because yesterday I took it. I was supposed to take it to 82, and I mean on Friday, so it didn't actually reach there. But I got a nice profit and it came down. Can I go back again? Go
Okay. Good question, eh? To be honest, I'm a little bit nervous of it. I tell you why. It's battling to break the 200-day moving average to a lesser extent than gold, for argument's sake, but it will be affected again by the data release tomorrow. It will have an effect on it. I personally agree with you. I see that the oil basically is oversold. And I think if it doesn't start rising soon, I think the Saudis will extend their $1 million a day, which they have. What's it? They dropped the production by 1 million barrels a day a couple of months ago, wherever it was, and until December they might extend it further, which would have a little bit of a movement to the positive on oil. There's still a bit in the doldrums there in China, and that's the biggest importer of the lot. So I do see a bit of upside, but I personally think until it breaks, that was quite a high risk trade, that one. And we were almost trading the range, if you like. It didn't quite get, as you quite rightly said, trade that range. The problem is halfway through that range. Will he come back to the bottom of the range for a bounce, or will it take this guy out here? I think if you want to do
Yes,
that, almost go on. Sorry.
yes, that's what I'm expect. That's what I'm hoping for it to do. Actually, if it does reach to that level, then I can take it up. But not now. Now I'm still watching it.
Oh, okay. They're on the same page. I think there's a
But
chance for
it's
another
only
bounce
for today.
in the range. Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Now, here I said downside. A lot of people say there's more downside to come. Technically speaking, they've got a point. My worry is the fact that I don't think the oil producers will be happy with all the expenses reliant of the income they get from oil to leave it in there in the 70s on Brent. You know what I mean? It's even on the crude. Remember, crude's the cheapest. It's about 74, 75. I'm not sure what it is. I don't really trade crude. I trade this and WTI. And so I'm not sure that another $4, $5, $6 downwards, they might not start stepping in and closing the taps off a little bit more to increase demand, to decrease supply, increase demand, sort of thing. So I tend to, as the one thing is range trading. If it comes back down there, you can, but be very wary. Okay, it might continue down, and it will be affected by tomorrow's CPI. Either way, but I'm in the favour simply Harad and Company, not technically. Just I think if it starts sliding much more on the downside, I think there'll be a step in by the producers to start limiting supply even more. The Saudis might cut back, and maybe they don't want to keep cutting back because they're losing big income from it. But I think they'd rather get a better price range, slightly in the mid 80s, something like that. But at the moment, I would say, yeah, if you want to take that risk round about the 90, 79, 50, 60 mark, be very circumspect, tight stop, don't overdo it. Otherwise, I suggest probably best leave it alone.
Yes, I also think that because there are a lot of uncertainties.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my take anyway. Yeah, but the mental definitely down at the moment. But I think it's getting a bit overcooked personally. All right. Yeah. Gold, like I mentioned, I would leave that alone, Keo. Just a second. It's got a bit of a bounce. I expect a bit of a bounce. It's at about a $5 bounce off the lows because there you can see, technically speaking, a bit of profit taking. But if you look against on the daily chart at the wick there, guys, it's not really getting going. In fact, nothing's happening. And this will be affected by tomorrow's data. Don't forget that. As you can see, it's not really getting to the downside or the upside. It's hovering. For a scalper at 35, be up about $5. If you did do it with, if you're a scalping type of person, maybe put your stop at break even. And if it breaks up a bit more, great. If it doesn't, stopped out or even take it. My advice at this stage of the game or suggestion is to leave gold alone. There's too many ifs and buts. I think it's a bit oversold. I think there could be a possibility of some upside. The dollar has weakened a bit, which is good for gold, but there's a lot of variables, the major one being tomorrow's inflation reading, to make it a little bit careful about trading it. Unfortunately, I'm going to be a little bit like a stat record on most trades, I think, unless you find one that I think, hey, it's worth taking the risk on. I do, Merrill. I do. I don't know if you took it and got out of it. I do. Yeah, I see downside on this, but my issue again is it's dollar, and dollar could be affected by tomorrow. Anything to do with the dollar, guys? Because I'm bringing this sound like a stat record here. Be very, very wary. Gold, dollar, and the indices and shares will be affected. How will it be affected? No point giving opinions. We don't know. Anything could happen. It's not just we get the figures right or wrong. The market reaction could be sometimes quite strange. It might be overact, underact. It's complete guesswork. So rather than risking it and hope to come right and taking a smack, rather be prudent, I think, and leave anything to do with the dollar, the gold, oil, to a certain extent, but not so much. Certainly the NAS, the indices and shares, they will definitely be affected by it, depending on what the release is, obviously, and how. Okay, but if you're in it, hold on. If you're not in it, I would be a bit normally, I'd say good idea, but a bit caged to go in now. I'll be honest, like I said, I took mine. I came down to the sport level on the 4 hour and I took it on Friday. And it did bounce around about the 121.90 mark, something like that. I'm keeping an eye, maybe we get a chance of the GBP CHF. But again, I'd like to get it nearer the 10 and the 50-day moving average. If I'm talking stuff you don't want I'm talking about or want to know what I mean by that, please ask. Because if you don't, I assume you already know. So it's very important that you were on the same page here. As you can see, total indecision there on Friday. Looks like I'm no surprise today in a decision, probably going in tomorrow, indecision as well. But I'm thinking if it does get near the 50 and comes off, we might have another go at that one. I did pretty well in the last one. Let's see if we can have another go at it, but not now. Not just because I think it might get a better price. Go on, go on.
How's it, Roger?
How's
I
it,
wanted to ask you, the CHF JPY, CHF is sitting quite high. It's sitting on, I think, 168.20 or 28 at the moment. So I've got a buy limit in at 162.800, but I'm not sure when that that Japanese government intervention came in. As in, how far did it go down? Because if I've got a buy limit in and that really drops drastically, then it's going to move against. How far was that Japanese intervention? Was it 200 pips or?
On the last time we did it, I'll tell you, I think it was here. 330 pips.
330 pips. Okay, cool. That gives me good.
Yeah. So that'd be about 165 if it happens again, depending on the size of the intervention, of course. Depends on the size. If they want to risk another 80, 90, or $100 billion to do it, yeah, it depends on the size. It is very much in overbought territory. I think there could be some Japanese strength come in. I personally think it's getting to the stage it's undervalued. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
But if I'm going to buy the yen, I'm not sure I'll be buying against the Swiss franc. I'd rather be buying against the GBP or the AUD, something like that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hope that's all clear. Good stuff. AUD JPY. Yeah, I'd rather be selling this one than that one. And the GBP one, maybe that one could look at as well. But they did intervene last time. Hey, I thought when it took up 150, it's now 151. What is it? 151.80, 70, something like that. Yeah, it's 151.70 odd. So they haven't intervened yet. But like you've got your sell stop at 152, I think just leave it there. Sell limit. Big difference. Beg your pardon.
No, I don't. I've got a buy limit at 162. So if intervene, I want to try and see that it get it at about a 300, like you say, 300 pips away. So if it drops right down, it picks up my buy limit, then it starts to turn around and when the yen then weakens and CHF goes up, then I'm already in for a buy.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to calculate.
Yeah, I get that, but I was talking about the dollar yen at that moment. I thought 150.
Oh, sorry.
And you got to sell stop it at 152 on the dollar yen. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Going back, that I'm quite happy with that. Yeah. I just can't see them sustaining 152.50, 153, 154. I think I'll have to step in. Can you just mute yourself if you're not engaging? A lot of background noise there, please. Thank you. Yeah, the CHF, if you want to do that, you're going to buy limit 162. That's 600 pips away. I think that's a bit over the top, that. I think you should be looking, if you want to try to buy a limit on the CHF JPY, it should be around about the 165 area, in my opinion. Again, it depends on how much yen they buy to see the extent of the movement. Yeah, that's correct, Chris. Yeah. But yeah, I would go CHF JPY either way. At the moment, leave it alone. To be honest, and a better fish to fry than trying to sell this franc here. Okay, that's still probably the strongest at the moment. I think do expect some Japanese yen upside. To be honest, I expect some strength to creep into it, even with a bit of help from their friends, i.e. the government. But yeah, not enough to say I'm going to advise a trade in it. Although I quite like the 152 idea. If you want to risk the 152 sell limit, maybe make it, I don't know, 80 pips stop, and then maybe 140, maybe 148, something like that. If you TP, you might get 300 plus pips out of it. Who knows? If it doesn't reset and starts moving up, take it if it has a big intervention anyway. The Swiss franc's undervalued. I think it's pretty stable. Not really. I think pretty stable. I just think Jonas Carrad Company. I think it's just that it's been this for a couple of weeks or more now, where the market is totally indecisive. And it's not just me talking. We can see it from the price action anyway. There's a couple of guys out there. One's an English guy, actually. I find him quite good in the UK. And couple of American guys as well, all saying it's the lack of direction makes it quite difficult to trade. You obviously need direction. Okay, and that's making it very, very difficult. So rather just be a little bit, this is time to exercise a bit of a patience. And you can see from the price action, pretty sideways almost. But if you're going to look for this one, you can look at dollar yen or pound yen or AUD yen rather than any of the others, if you want to play cute on the possibility of an intervention and a pullback on the yen. Okay, hope that's all clear. If it isn't, say so. We'll repeat it better. If I can't, I'm sure Mr. Skierpers can help you. I take you all got those moving average on your chart. They are important, especially the brown one. Where's the brown one now? Should be down there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, the browns are 200 and the 50 is a dark blue. Very, very important indeed. It's a must have. Others, not quite as important, but still important, is the 100 and very much to a lesser extent the 10. I like the 10. Some guy prefer the 20. It's up to you. That's personal choice. But I do like the 100, and so you should have the 250 and the 100 on there. If you like the 10, you put on as well. And don't forget, then save your charts. So if you lose them, you can go back on and pull them out again. If you don't know any of that, what I'm talking about, ask them. It's very important to get people to overcome their nerves and ask these questions. Otherwise, I'm explaining something you already know and wasting your time. So if you don't know, please ask. No point coming and attend the trade room and not being able to have your questions asked. I know it's not my fault, but I'm going to apologize anyway. I'm very sorry about this slumberfest market at the moment. Nothing to do about it, but just say it's not my fault. It's not your fault. It happens. That's why I say if we do have quiet moments like this, guys might want to look into what are those moving averages or some bits and pieces like that, which might want to clarify. You know, things like how do you get the calculator and how, what's margin mean, or basics like that I could certainly help you out with. Because unfortunately, it is an issue in South Africa where a large amount of people are trading in markets with live cash without fully understanding the basics. And that's what we hope to clear up here. Oh, absolutely, yeah. But that's all right because it opens Tuesday after the release anyway at 4:30. But I'll be honest, definitely wait till that happens. But I think it's going to pull back a bit, to be honest. But that's what I think. Whether it does depends again on those figures. So at least it'll open tomorrow. Afterwards, we'll see what happens there. But apart from the fact that the ESPN sports streaming company they owned, that's the only one that's been generating profits from. All the others are battling. Don't think that alone is not going to hold it up there. I expect some downside, but leave it alone till then. And if it shoots up, that's to do with that's inflation reading. But anyway, we'll see. As I said, I'll say it again. Till the CPI comes out, I strongly suggest you leave US dollar alone, the NASDAQ alone, the Dow alone, gold alone, and shares alone. Yeah, but he's right to his favor. I've done all right at that. He brought it to my attention. I didn't. That's what I say. It's important everyone chips in here because I miss stuff. Chris missed stuff. Farney misses stuff. Brown misses stuff. You get the idea. Dion does. Desmond does. Whoever. You know what I mean? Edwin. So it's good to have a forum where people got 20, 30, 40, at the moment, 40 people eyes on it. Or then we can all add to it. Yeah, but so finally spotted that, and I've done 2 or 3 in it. I've done pretty well in every one. I think one I got knocked out, but the others did very well. Certainly did better than I didn't do better, put it that way. And hey, Chris, I like the CHF JPY, but the trouble is the last time I bloody well missed it, unfortunately. I was so tempted to go in after intervention when it was about a month ago. So tempted because I've seen that before. It's happened from experience where the intervene, then it slowly weakens again. Now, here we're getting a bust from bargain basement prices, and I chicken out club, and unfortunately missed out. But I'm certainly going to join it now. Attend your own positions. Don't forget, don't get your stop too close, but modify. If it's nice in a profit, you don't want to leave your stop loss way into a loss scenario in case something happens. Start modifying it, reducing risk till you get to break even, and after a while, hopefully, your stop loss is So it's starting to kick up again. I'll share the screen again. I hope the good. They don't sort out today, sort out tomorrow. I'm going to have this problem going forward. But I do have it the router outside in the balcony. Hopefully, pick up a decent reception. Been pretty good up to that moment there. So just keep your fingers crossed. Vox said they should have it sorted by today, latest tomorrow. So just hope so. That's why I have the video off, so trying to save a bit of data. And I have a lot of apps I don't have running, which I normally do. Okay, right. Put the chat line up again. Yeah, thanks, Chris. If you do that, lose me again, just update the guys, because that's exactly what's happening. Then you probably think I've just disappeared. If the rugby final on, I might have done it, but that's not on anymore. Okay, right. Yeah, Edward, get back to the share. Yeah, it depends how it opens. A lot of people always look for what we call the no-brainer. I wish it did, but it doesn't really exist. You might get lucky. So again, depends on it opens. If the CPI is very bad and you want to sell it, sound like a great idea, but it might not open up at 88, might open up at 84. Can you get a risk reward? So you have to see how it opens. Make a decision accordingly. Okay. Right. I presume you all got pen and paper. Any questions you jotted down? Anything you want to interact with, like Edwin has, or Chris, Gerard, these guys? I'm sure Eric, fairly new to this, must have a few questions to ask. If you're a bit confused, here's your chance to try help me unconfuse you. Okay? Try and have a bit of fun in here. Quiet times like this. Probably a truncated session today. If I don't have any questions to answer, I don't like rabbiting along for no purpose. It's only, serve value. I'm sure people got better things to do and let me rabbit on as nothing's happening out there. But I can certainly spend the time, hopefully usefully, answering any questions. Hello, Yolandi. Is that you from the office? Welcome if it is. It's very quiet. I'm just saying to the guys here, it's very quiet today. We're going, as you know, those big US announcements coming out tomorrow. There's nothing big coming out in the economic front today, but tomorrow, as you know, the big one's coming out. And very important, that is. So you'll find there's very little move in the markets. Price action is very, very sideways, understandably. People out there are scared to take any major positions at the moment with this hanging around your head. So even gold started to pull back a bit. Leave it alone. What's the NAS doing? Probably not very much. The NAS is the most volatile. So the NAS is not doing much. You can understand all the rest will do even less. Look at the 15-minute. So look at that for a range. You don't see that very often in the NAS, do you? 30 pip range of the last few hours. I'll put it on an hour chart, probably a bit easier. See my point a bit clearer. See, very, very quiet. So yeah, I think it might be a bit of a pullback there, but don't take it because, as I say, anything could happen. So if that's you, Yolandi, or maybe someone else using your Zoom name. She works in the office. One of our top stars, Yolandi, if that's you. Okay, Dino, it's very quiet, so probably if you have to go, it's probably not a bad time. Okay. Hi, Becky Zella. Hello, Roger. Kindly add me to VIP group. For sure. For sure. I think I've got you to do after. I was just going to give you a call. But now I don't need to. because you know the score. I'll send off my details to you, and yeah, and then yeah, okay, I'll do just that. Yeah, I've definitely got you down to give you a call after 11 o'clock. But well, you know me now. Isn't much point, so I'll just add you to the group and do that after 11, 100%. That's what I want you to do, guys. You know, just let me know if you've got 2.5 grand or more. Just let me know, and I'll add you to the group. No problem. You're a busy guy, Mr. Chris. No problem. Yeah, it's a bit said, which it can be a bit boring when there's not much happening in the world's market. So if you want to look at a strategy or something like that, we can do so. You should all be trading with some sort of strategy. We're not just jumping in because it's some sort of emotional feeling you've got. You must have a strategy. Okay, so don't forget tomorrow we're doing normal hoppers 9 to 11, and then we're doing the 3 o'clock session for the straddle trade. If you don't know how to place the trade, then make sure in early 3 o'clock-ish, so I can give me time. No point in joining after 20 past 3. I won't have time to explain how the mechanics of the trade to you before having to place it. On that subject, should we? I'm a little bit nervous doing the dollar yen at the moment because of the intervention possibility. So maybe we could look at a euro dollar, or maybe even for change. What about the pound dollar? Don't forget, if you're going to trade run the pound dollar, let it run. You're not doubling up. It's a completely separate scenario. It's a total separate trader. It's not a buy or sell. It's a straddle trade. But what should we do? Let's put it to the vote, and that's the one I'll use tomorrow. Session times are 9:30 to 11, Monday to Friday. And when we have a major economic fundamental, in case we have 2 each month, it's the non-farm payrolls and the US Consumer Price Index report. Those 2 will be from 3 till 4 until the clocks change again. You'll be notified of that, don't worry. So just tomorrow, and then that'll be it. We go into next month. Hope that makes sense. Okay, I'll send you that in a minute, Moti. Gertrude, you got that? Are we all clear? Not just Gertrude. Are we all clear on that? Twice a month, 3 till 4, we have a straddle trade session. You'll be notified of it. I'm having one tomorrow. That's the last till next month. Okay, fine. Normal trading. Fine. Right. Normally what I do is have what I've mentioned there. Just a second. I think so, Sam. Yeah, let's start off with that before we do Australia. Pound dollar. Are we happy for me to do that, guys? I'll do that. You can do what you like. If you've done it before, you can do whatever you like. I'm talking about me using as the example to trade on the session, which I'll be doing tomorrow. Oh, we're good there. Okay, I'll do the pound dollar then tomorrow. Okay, nobody else is to really too bother about it. A couple of people put their hand up, so I'll go with that. Okay, pound dollar I'll do tomorrow. You like as well. Okay, good stuff. Well, now the thing you need to have. Okay, let's start beginning. Not exactly, about 70% of the time, I do my strategy on the daily. Occasionally, the weekly or the 4 hour, that makes up the other 30% of the time. So we'll do the daily as we look at it. Now, if you haven't got on there, please do so immediately. Put in the brown line. You can see there, that's a 200-day simple moving average. and put in the dark blue one. That's the 50-day. Those two are by far the most important. Next one, also important, so I suggest you put it on there, is the 100-day moving average with the black line. You happy with that, Carol? Good. Now, I quite like that 10. You prefer the 15 or the 20, it's entirely up to you, but I quite like it. So if you want to put that on as well, you can. And that's the magenta one. Okay. Once you've got them on there, don't forget, right-click on the blank part of your chart and go down to templates. Go across and see save the template. See that? Left-click on it and wait a moment. Then up will come file name. Clearly put your name in there and then click the save button. So if you do lose your charts for whatever reason, you right-click on the blank part of the screen, go to your templates, and there your saved charts down there. You click on the one you like the most, and it's back up and running again. Hope that's all clear. And I don't use many of the other indicators. I'm not sure I'm right or wrong on that, just me. A lot of people love them. You use indicators you like, you're happy with them, but don't get paralysis by analysis. And don't forget, indicators like stochastics and all that get the information from the price action, which basically means they lag the price action. So tell you what's happening after the event. So if it's a strong buy, it's telling you like relative strength will be highly strong. For instance, look at that movement up there. So clearly your relative strength is going to be strong. Your stochastic is going to be strong. You get the idea because it follows the price action. I prefer to work around support resistance and to see what the candle's doing. And often I put a Fibonacci, sometimes a trend line, but Fibonacci. Okay, now I'm looking at that. And as you can see, this also acts as a filter. You can see it's above the blue and it's above the brown. Also, on top of it's above the black line. So it really means in a strong zone. If it's between the blue and the brown line, I call it a neutral zone. If it's below them all, it's the sell zone. So if it's below them all, I look to sell the rallies. If it's in the neutral zone, I can buy the pullbacks or sell the rally. And if it's the buy zone, buy the pullbacks. Occasionally, I might say it's the buy zone. It might be the idea to sell it because it might be looking overvalued. Much as if it's in the weaker zone, I might look to buy it because it looks like it might be undervalued. Okay. Happened to Swiss franc a couple of weeks ago. Very, very strong. And then the traders out there thought this is getting a little bit overvalued. The Swiss francs have started to sell it. So that's it. But otherwise, you look at the range there and you say, let's do another one. Just to get a better idea. Pull one arbitrarily out. What should I pull out here? Try this one here. It's US dollar CAD. Okay. You then should be able to tell immediately by looking at it. So of all the moving averages, it's strong. What is strong? The base currency is strong. So the dollar is stronger than the Canadian at the moment. So therefore, you're thinking market down is a possible buy. Would you be buying it now? Well, as mentioned, you wouldn't, simply because the data release coming out tomorrow. Number two, even if it wasn't, you're probably a little bit nervous at those highs. You probably think, I'd like to buy it, but see if I can get a better price on a pullback to buy it, but you wouldn't be selling it. Let's go to the CHF. Remember, CHF is probably the strongest currency out of the majors and the crosses at the moment. So you'd be a little bit reluctant to be selling the Swiss franc. Having said that, it can get to the stage where you think the Swiss franc is overvalued, and maybe in this case, the yen is undervalued. You might look, of course, to maybe sell it down for that reason, but be very cautious because it's such a strong currency. If you didn't know that, I'm just saying that's the way it is. I happen to know that, and I'm sharing it with you. Okay. So in this case, you'd be looking to buy the pullback. Okay. Now we'll go back to GBP USD. As you can see, it's gone up. Now, this is not just a filter, it's an area support resistance as well. Simple way to look is like the floor and the ceiling. If it's near the ceiling, it's looking like some resistance, doesn't it? So if you want to sell it, you want to sell it near the ceiling, not near the floor, clearly. And that seems to be holding this area here. And that's why it's in the sell zone. It's near the support line there. That's why we thought an idea to sell it. And hopefully that will pan out. That's what I tend to do. I don't overcomplicate it. I think it's unnecessary. Putting dozens of indicators on, they're all lagging, won't suddenly give you any brilliant insight to what happens next. Rather build out support resistance and clarity on your charts rather than getting confused with too much stuff on it. That's the basics how I work. And after a while, a bit of practice, you can look at something. I'll just go this one, GBP0, look at that for a while. I'll flash it across there just every morning, check it out there. Right, in a neutral zone, it seems to be holding there. I can see a bit of support resistance there. I'm a little bit nervous, the dollar and the pound. I don't think they're either the strongest currencies. So, and it's neutral. I would say I'm going to stay neutral on that and leave it alone. I wouldn't be selling it right now. I wouldn't be buying it. Go on to the next one. And that takes a bit of practice, but as long as you've got some idea what I'm talking about, you'll find a lot easier to get trade ideas doing it that way. And that's what I do each morning, guys. Start out alphabetically, start with the AUD CAD up. Yep, I'd say that it looks like the AUD could be bouncing up, but I'm not that up. AUD to me is one of the weaker ones, but the Canadian is also exhibiting some weakness. And remember, Canada is an oil exporting nation and oil's quite low at the moment. So that's weakened the Canadian. So as a result of it, I don't see it standing out. I don't see one much stronger than the other one. I would then sort of say, leave that alone and go on to the next one. This one I would like to be selling. However, I want to sell it at a slightly better price. I look at the candle there. You see what I'm doing there? I see the wick at the top and the wick at the bottom. That tells me indecision. There's no direction. When it goes up, the buyers and sellers come in. When it goes down, the buyers come in. Neither buyers or sellers in charge at the moment. It's pretty much sideways. So the moment I'll be looking to sell it, but I'm not right at the moment because there's not much action happening. Okay, we'll go back to GBP CAD as mentioned. I'm not sure I'd be buying that. Simple reason, it's right up against the 100-day moving average. And it doesn't seem to have much follow through. Might have more than it looks. Just check out the distance to the top there. It's only 50, 60 pips away over the last week and a half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, week and a half. Not enough meat on the bones. And the pound ain't that strong to buy it. And the Canadian's not that strong either, but it's not that weak either. So from the point of view of buying that at this stage, no. However, that situation could change if it breaks above here, comes back and tests and bounce again. We could look for maybe a stop down here and buy it. We have to take it up here somewhere if it makes it. But at the moment, I would look at that, guys, at my strategy and say, right at that resistance, not much meat on the bones. If you look back in the previous history last week or 8 days or whatever, did that tell me, give me enough confidence to go and buy or sell it come to that? Not really. In fact, if I had to do something, I think it might actually pull back a bit, to be honest. But where would it pull back to? Here? Sorry. Yeah? 40 pips, you can't get a risk reward. It's too small a range. So for that reason, I'd leave it alone. I know you're fairly new here, but to get some idea what I'm talking about there, anybody new there? I try and uncomplicate it. All the selling, all trades about what the buyers and sellers are doing. Buyers are in charge, you buy it. Sellers in charge, you sell it. At the moment, neither side is in charge. Adds resistance, not much range. In other words, there's not much profit potential to take the risk. For that reason, I'd leave it alone. Hope you understand why. Yeah, it's one of the contributing factors, Canada. Plus, you know, the old joke, they say, go woke, go broke. It's very, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister there, or he's extremely, left wing, which is great, but unfortunately, it's not always economically great. And as a result, the Canadian is a little bit weaker, yeah. And the oil price is a major factor, absolutely, yes. Okay. Get to ask the question again with M. Muti. I hope that's pronounced properly. Have you got any idea? It takes a bit of practice, but as long as you've got the idea behind it, just takes a bit of practice. And then you can probably look at it after a while and get an idea of the possibility fairly quickly. That's simple as that's what I use. A lot of people have a lot more complicated ones, don't know results any better. Profits, I don't know. Mine, I've been in this for a while now, and it seems to be working out. Seem to get more wins than losses, so I'm going to stick with it. Why not? Why fix something that's not broke? Have we got some idea of that? Don't panic, not at first. A bit of practice, you'll get it, like anything else. You won't be a tennis star after one lesson. or a football star after one lesson. Okay, the Fibonacci retracement, quite frankly, is like a lot of these things. A lot of people use them, so it becomes basically self-fulfilling. So the idea behind the retracement is to literally find an entry to get into. So let's say you want to sell the pound Canadian short, which I think is probably a reasonable chance of that happening, but let's pretend we do see it. See the Fibonacci tool up there? You left click on it. If you're looking to retrace, we start at the top, bring it down to the bottom. If you're looking for a pullback to buy it, top of the bottom, and you don't use this candle because it's still a work in progress. You go up and up there somewhere. But if you're looking to sell it, you take the high and bring it down to the low and across. Okay. Now it went back up from there and it went through this, and is holding at the 61.8 fib. So if you saw that holding there and started to come off, that's not on its own. You want maybe a bit of support line or something like that. But it's a strong indicator to think it's retraced to that figure there, 61.8. It's a figure there put up for you. Then you'd sell it with a stop above these guys here and bring it down. Okay? That's what the Fibonacci retracement's for. It's just another area where to get in. You decide you want to buy or sell it. Now you're trying to find an entry. This will assist you to get an entry. Okay. That's also an area there, which is quite a strong bit of selling resistance, but it might push up. Hadn't pulled back, so you wouldn't jump in yet. You've got to see if it's confirmed. You don't want to jump in because it's got there. It might continue up. If it gets there as well, you don't want to suddenly sell it on the 618. You want to see if it's going to come off. If it comes off, you sell it. If it still continues up, we'll obviously ignore it. Okay. Just to get another indicator, a powerful one, when to get an entry. If you've got that, Corner, and everybody else, very important. It should be part of your studies. People are spending a lot of money on stock market college, but I'm not sure they're attending the lessons because these very important basics should be taught in the stock market college classes. Support, resistance, the major moving average, trend lines, and Fibonacci, and then some of like stochastic, relative strength, some of the other indicators, but those should be covered. What you need to know is you need to know what Fibonacci retracement. It's just very important. Okay, you got that. Good. Well, that's a good question there. Let's pretend we go back, which is Monday, Friday, Thursday. Popped up, sellers came in, it started coming off. I probably see it coming off. I might check on my candle, might be an hour, it might be, I don't know, depending on the volatility of the instrument. Maybe there, I'll have a stop up there somewhere, and I'd aim down there to go and see if that occurs. If I'd done it on that basis, I'd already be in a bit of profit. It's bouncing up. If I got in there, I'm already about 30 pips in profit. When I'm about 30 pips in profit, I probably modify my stop loss down Sam to break even, so I can't lose in the trade and let it run. If it starts popping up and breaking through the 100-day, I might just take the profit. Don't want to get stopped out with zero. I might just take it and pop bank 20 pips. Better than the kick in the shin, better than doing the washing up. Are we good with that? Actually, the most difficult thing in trading, guys, is not to enter. Well, that's difficult. It's where to exit. We all quite human, quite normal. Try and pick bottoms and tops. Unfortunately, that's not possible unless you get incredibly lucky. Thank you, Mr. Umaron. See, what's difficult, guys? Asked a question. Now he's happy. Wasn't so difficult, was it? So no one's going to laugh at you. We all started somewhere. And we're a good-mannered group on here. We wouldn't anyway. We're gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, I should say. Okay. Any questions, guys? Anything else you need clarifying on? AUDNZD. We got ones to sell already, actually. Is it coming off? No. Ashley used to use it quite a lot. He's previous used to the classes last year. But I don't know. Don't know to it, just don't. I got enough. So if the tools I got do the job, why confuse add more tools? I sometimes use a Fibonacci extension to find a target if there's not a previous high or low to look for. But the only real fibs I use is I've used the fan, but I haven't really used that much. In fact, last time I used the fan was probably about a year ago myself. Yeah, I use the Fibonacci retracement, very much the number one, and occasionally, if it's required, the Fibonacci extension. And what do I mean by that? Let's say we're expecting some upside on this for argument's sake. Put this in here. Sorry, downside, beg your pardon. And there, if let's say it's never been that low in the history of the Aussie dollar NZD for argument's sake, then it gives you a target to aim at. That's the extension. Yeah, I think so, Simpui. I agree. I just hope to get a better price, actually. Yep, I agree. We've done one already. We did pretty well out of it. I want to do it again, but I want to get it a little bit higher up. Like most of the market at the moment, it's just drifting. And on the 15-minute, work on all these. It looks like it's a bit of a range. Is it worth trading that range? Some guys, if it is, it might be worth it. Yeah, it's only 8 pip range at the moment. It's not worth it. So absolutely no problem, Cedric. Good stuff. So at the moment, simply we just look at the range. There's not much happening. In fact, the whole market seems to get a bit ground to a bit of a halt as we speak. So if there's no costs involved, it might be worth trading down there for 8 pip profit. I don't know. But remember, you got a 5 pip spread there. So if you do that 8 pip, 5 goes to the broker and 3 goes to you. That doesn't really make much sense, does it? So that's the only reason. Very quiet, very sideways. Otherwise, absolutely get a better price. And yeah, we'll look to sell it again. I'm going to go back to the daily 4 hour start off with. I like it to break through there for comfort, but anyway, that being as may, up there somewhere, maybe sell it down. A bit conflicting on the 4 hour. I get that being above there, but it's still below the blue line. Somewhere up that line again, I will definitely be selling it down unless some big fundamental coming out to spoil the day. Yeah, that's a good point, Gredwin. Well, just because it's coming out with the unemployment figures, etc., that'll have an effect on the pound, depending on how it comes out on. But the dollar is completely separate. The dollar is the most powerful of the lot. So what happened previous in the previous fundamental will be overcome. Maybe get a bigger move on some of the others, but I'm a bit worried about the yen because of possibility of Japanese government intervention. The euro's looking a little bit stronger at the moment, so I'm a little bit wary of that. So I think, despite what happens tomorrow on the pound, that's why I think that one or the Aussie dollar. I might do even. I still think New Zealand's going to be slightly the stronger of the two. despite the AUD NZD trade, doesn't look very pretty at the moment. But bottom line is, I think at the moment that seems about the better one, and it's a completely separate trade scenario. That pound will be pushed around depending on what happens to the dollar. That's the reason I'm happy to do it. Even though we've got somebody else coming out 9 on the pound. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Good with that, Erin? Got it. Good, fantastic. Thanks, Ed. Any questions, guys? Eric, it's fairly new here. Anything you'd like to ask? Hope you're not too confused. Let's see if I can unconfuse you. I know there's a bit to be learned, but like any skill, there's a bit to be learned, but believe me, it's worth it if you can crack it. You're set up for life. Don't worry about getting another job once you've got how to do this. That'll always be there, wherever you are in the world. Just a second. Like a spam caller, leave it. Don't know who that is. It leaves a message, great. I'm just observing. Okay, you'll pick it up as you go along. Okay. Very quiet. Any questions? Anything else? I can't come up with trade ideas for the moment. So I've run out of stuff to say. I take you've all got the indicators. You got my number. You got charts set up. If anyone's let them run. I haven't got anything new for you. We discussed a strategy. We discussed most stuff. We could repeat it again tomorrow. We'll probably have a quiet one tomorrow as well, by the way, as it gets near the 3:30 time. But hope we'll make up and have a great day at the 3 o'clock straddle trade session. Otherwise, that's basically what I've got to add for the moment. Anything else someone likes to add, or we can catch you tomorrow? Might be a bit quiet again tomorrow, like I mentioned, but we'll still be doing it. We might find something, and we can certainly go back and do the cover again we did today, just so it becomes a muscle memory habit. Hope we've got some value in it at the meantime. Even the quiet time, I still hope we get some value out of it. Yeah, anything else, guys? Thank you, Corny. Yeah, it's starting to come together. It takes a bit of time, but you'll get there. GBP USD. Gertrude. Pound dollar. Cable, by the way. If anyone talks about cable, they mean the pound dollar, just out of interest. And if anyone talks about the loonie, 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 that's a dollar Canadian. Anyone talks about the Swiss, always a dollar Swiss francs, not the JBY or the Euro Swiss francs, always a dollar Swiss franc. People talk about the Swissy. Okay. Anything else, guys? Very quiet. So if you have kicking up a bit at the moment, the router. Okay.